What's in the stars and the cards ahead for you this week? Let's dive into it because this is a week where very loud voices in the world that really bring through an aggressive or an impatient or even a dismissive nature towards those who are empathetic seem to be capturing all the attention. But I want to just share with you the real power this week comes from slowing down and tuning into something much quieter. Sometimes you might hear that phrase, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And yes, it's important for us to speak up and speak out. But sometimes when there's a reactive energy, we say things that we later regret, or we look back and we wonder why we behaved in such a way. It might have been out of character or not quite like us. So I want to just invite you to use the energy of this week, which is a waning moon, to tune in to a rhythm that really helps you connect to your heart and to your values, because it's a very special week ahead and we're going to get into it. But remember, with a waning moon, we just had the full moon on Saturday, full moon in Cancer. A waning moon means release, let go, slow down, tend to what truly matters, and choose care over force, just meaning you're being intentional and mindful. You're responding rather than reacting. And that's one of the best things as an empath that we really learn to cultivate through discernment. So if you have been feeling extra sensitive, if you've been feeling anxious or worried, or even just the pressure of the collective right now, you're not alone. This isn't the week to toughen up, to grow the thick skin, to, forward push. But breathe and do your grounding practices, protect your energy, and move with intention instead of urgency. So let's just take a moment, place your hand on your heart, and I'm just going to ask, what's the most important thing that you need to know moving into this week ahead? The star. The star card is have faith. Take a moment to look up at a starry night sky and realize that the problems that you might be experiencing, what feels so overwhelming, so intense, when we put that into the grander perspective of the universe, of the galaxy, all things can be accomplished when we tune into that higher power. And when you realize you're not alone, this is a card of intuition. And I think I said it already, but it's a card of faith. So what are you hitching your wagon to, right? Like, what are you reaching for, lassoing that star? Where are you pouring your energy and your time? There's that beautiful old biblical phrase, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. There's and I keep saying, I got to just jump into it. I'm so excited about Venus this week because Venus is in a very special dance. Venus is the planet of love, of beauty, of relationships, of prosperity, our money, our value, our worth. And she's doing a dance in the heavens that really is one that's saying, okay, let's pause for a moment and make sure that you really and truly are doing things that are bringing you joy and that you're in value and in alignment. So I'll go deeper into that in a moment, but definitely say hello as you pop on. Hello, Julie, and happy birthday, all the Capricorns in the crowd. Let us know if you are a Capricorn so we can wish you a happy birthday. All right, some of the things we're going to get into in this episode this week are practices to help you with discernment, to really trust your intuition and to know when to conserve energy versus, okay, I need to kind of push against this. Because sometimes it's that feeling of, a door is closing and, do you keep pushing on it or you say, okay, there's another door opening? Because sometimes it's not so much about, it's so nuanced, and I'll just leave it at that. I saw the movie Avatar this weekend with my family, and it was interesting because essentially there's this character, Kiri, and a door closes to her when she's trying to connect to her source and that higher power. And she tries and she tries and she keeps trying, but she can't do it alone. She has her family assist her at some point. But it's interesting because how many of us, when we hit that resistance, do we think, oh, the door is closed. Okay, I'm going to pause and back down. But when you think about being intuitive or an empath or a highly sensitive person, it's in that subtleness when we can tune into our intuition that we can start to really feel the nuances of, I've come against a block, I'm going down the wrong path, I'm losing energy, I'm kind of losing myself in the process, trying to fit into a space I don't belong, versus I keep running into resistance, but I know I'm on the right path. I keep running into challenges and obstacles, but I know this is my heart's calling, my soul's calling. So we keep going, we keep trying. Where is that little subtle nuance? The more that you kind of step away from the noise of the world, and even just so this would be like tip number one for discernment and practice this week, spend anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes in the quiet. I like to go in my closet first thing in the morning, and I just kind of sit there because I'm away from my puppies. Otherwise, they start going, okay, time for morning routine. So I just sit in my closet and I close my eyes and I just listen to a sound, the sound of my breath or the air coming out of the vent. And that can make such a huge difference in setting the tone of my day so that I'm present and I'm aware of that intuitive voice when it shows up, that little nudge. And it comes so quietly. It's so very interesting, and it's easy to dismiss. But when you take the time to sit in the quiet, and it's not fancy, you don't need any equipment, you don't need any meditation, you're just sitting, unplugged, eyes closed. That way you're not distracted by the other senses, listening, just training your ear and your heart. And your mind's going to race from topic to topic. You're going to think about this, that, and the other. That's okay. No problem. You just set the timer. You sat for 2 minutes. You sat for 5 minutes. Wonderful. And it's going to change over time. You're going to see. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Chrissy. Susan, I got your email. I'm going to respond. I'm seeing it today as I come to my desk. So thank you, our wonderful Moon Club members who are here. And hey, by the way, if we haven't met yet, my name is Irena Miller. I'm a spiritual life guide and astrologer and what I call an energy alchemist. I love bringing sacred practices to you, sacred practices that I have studied in great depth for the last 3 decades. I've been doing this with thousands of people over many, many years. And what I do is I curate the practices to develop and create a unique energy recipe just for you, really to tune into the energy of the day. So I am so happy that you're here and you're in the right place if you've ever been drawn to the moon, to astrology, wanting to know more about cultivating your intuition and understand your emotions, and especially energy, the invisible world. We make it visible here. So if this is your kind of thing, then please do like the video, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, share it with a friend. It helps out so much to share these practices, and it helps me in the channel. And I'm so grateful for that. So welcome. Hi, Alex. Great to have you. All right, definitely say hello when you hop on so I can wish you a happy new year, because we are jumping in full force ahead. And that's kind of why I said slow down. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like all of a sudden I got caught in this tide and it's rushing. And I feel the urgency. I feel the anxiety building, and it's tricky because it'd be easy to get swept up in that fear and that false sense of urgency and take actions that I'll look back on later and say, uh-oh, what did I do? So breathe. So we have the sitting in the quiet. Next energy tip I want to give you is take deep belly breaths. Because when you lengthen your exhalation, what you're doing is you're calming that vagus nerve and you're getting out of the fight or flight state, and you're telling your nervous system it's okay. Yes, times might be stressful, but we're not in a state of, the saber-toothed tiger chasing after us. We're okay. We have a safe space to be right now, hopefully. We have food, hopefully. We have shelter. Breathe. So it's those root chakra needs. So take deep belly breaths, lengthening the exhale. And that, again, is going to help you slow down. Now, why do we slow down? It's just so that we can go faster, really. If you think about sometimes in movies, you might see like a superhero who everything's happening so fast, things are whizzing by their head, and then they slow down time so they can see the objects, kind of like the Matrix, go by them. And we slow down to develop new neural pathways. The whole Feldenkrais methodology is about this, creating neuroplasticity and strengthening our mind, making sure that we age in a healthy way. We stay sharp and alert and even physically healthy. And we do that by slowing down and learning new patterns, because these patterns and ruts we get into, the yogis call them samskaras, can keep us really trapped on a path that, again, it's that same thing. We can make New Year's resolutions, set intentions, but if we're stuck in a rut, we can't quite change and reach the new goal. It's kind of like the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing, getting the same results, but you're expecting different results. Many times it's because we're stuck in the rut. So how do we kind of skip out of the rut? We'll get into the quiet and take those deep belly breaths. Those are wonderful ways to begin. Hello, Shannon. So glad you could join us live. So let's talk about this week ahead, just in the overarching sense. I want to give you kind of the highlights, and then we'll drill down day by day, looking at the moon, and we'll pull a card for each day. And you can always come back to these days and look at it. And if you're on my email list, then I help break it down, and in my blog too. Okay, the waning moon week. Just as a reminder, slow down. It's not about pushing harder. And with the sun in Capricorn, the Capricorn energy knows how to push. They know how to get work done. We even have that Virgo moon, which wants to get things done this week. That's great. Just remember, are you pushing against a place that doesn't fit? Or are you just meeting the resistance? Can you still breathe? Do you feel calm and centered as you're pursuing your goal? Maybe the nervous butterflies are in your tummy. That's okay. But we start to notice the subtle differences. Think about this week as an opportunity to release old expectations, emotional weight, places where you've been overexerting yourself. And it's not about proving yourself. Let go of that pressure. The Capricorn energy that the sun is in right now takes on a lot of responsibilities. And there's a lot of pressure and weight on the shoulders that we can all feel, even if we don't have any ties to Capricorn, let's say. The end of this week, the moon goes into what's called a last quarter phase. And I love that for healing, because sometimes I feel, let's say setting New Year's intentions or wishes or resolutions, if you do such a thing, sometimes we've got kind of the remnants of the energy from the last intentions we set, like, oh, it never works. Why even bother? Or I tried that and I failed. It didn't come true, or who knows? But we can sometimes hold that thought or that energy, and it weighs down the new year. So when you practice something like a forgiveness or a letting go practice, and I love the Ho'oponopono for this. Traditionally, it's a beautiful Hawaiian sacred tradition. You'd say it to another. Sometimes I like to say it to ourselves, because I don't know about you, but I know sometimes looking back, I've made decisions and choices, and I think, oh God, what was I thinking? That was so stupid, or that was a mistake. How did I choose that path? Now I'm here. It's okay. Take a deep breath and go into the Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And you just say it over and over and over. And what happens is a soothing in your heart, and you go out of that fight or flight mode again. You get out of the anxiety in the mind, and you can hear guidance more easily. It's not about waving a magic wand or saying an affirmation that's going to magically make everything, appear to be better or be better. Okay, maybe that could happen. I'm always open to miracles. But what it does is it gets you into the right state of mind and into your heart space to hear the guidance. And that's the biggest, most powerful thing. Because when we're anxious, when we're worried, when we're scared, and we're running around, we can't hear the guidance as easily. It's there, and we can learn how to pay attention, but it's just harder, and it's harder to trust it. And remember that star card came out for this week, which is have faith. Ask the question, send your prayers up to the heavens, and trust that they are being answered. A question to contemplate this week as you go into it is ask yourself, what is no longer sustainable? And what kind of care is required right now? You think about that Capricorn energy. This energy, it's a visionary, it's a CEO, and they have big eyes and big plans. I say big eyes. You ever hear that phrase? Oh, my eyes were bigger than my tummy. I bit off more than I could chew. Just ask yourself, you might have big visions and you're planning those intentions and wishes, but you might realize, okay, that's not really sustainable. Let's say fitness. You want to have a fitness goal of weight loss, and you're like, I want to lose X amount of pounds, so I want to lose this much a week. And you might say, okay, well, wait a second. That's not really sustainable or realistic. Let me back up a minute. And we'll re-examine the pathway, because this is a week to simplify, get more efficient. That Virgo moon's going to help Love that Virgo moon. Clean up any emotional loose ends. So if you feel like the Venus energy this week is going to help us bring healing to relationships. Tend to what you already have going on. There's a lot of shiny new stuff, especially with the new year, lots of opportunities and whatnot. But before you jump in, take a moment to breathe and just notice, what do you already have on your plate, and make sure, again, you have the energy to tend to it. Choose to nourish your spirit, and I call it nourish or feed your spirit, over going into the noise of the world looking for distraction. Because again, we have to do what works in the moment. And sometimes if, you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious, we go to the phone and we scroll. All right, well, maybe that would help temporarily. But think about a long-term healing practice to help yourself. You might need to move your body. You might need to go outside and go for the walk. Or you might just need to make your hands busy with a puzzle, like an actual physical puzzle. Or my daughter just got something called diamond art, which is really, really cool. Maybe crocheting, maybe knitting. But give your hands something to do so you get that energy out. Even cleaning dishes, chop wood, carry water. That can make a lot of difference. And it'll actually feed your soul. There's something really incredible about it. Okay, let's talk about the big astro moments this week. All right, let's get into the Venus energy. So this is something called the Venus star point. This is where Venus, the planet of love, relationships, what we value, our money, this is having a beautiful hug with the sun. And this happens, in such a way, it happens on a basis that's not too unique. But what makes this unique is that it's considered a check-in point, and it hasn't happened in this way in 4 years. So something that started 4 years ago in January of 2022, that's centered around relationships, what you value, maybe the way that you engaged in your work or your career, is showing up again. There was some kind of seed that was planted at that point 4 years ago, and it's coming to a culmination. Think of this as moment like a checkpoint. And it's saying, okay, what was started 4 years ago? Let's check back in. Am I on track? There's some kind of revelation or clarity around what you were looking to build 4 years ago, to build in your career or build with your relationships, or what you valued, what you loved. You might find that shifted. You might find that it's grown. Like if I look back 4 years ago, that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to seriously take time. I've been studying astrology for many decades, but I hadn't had a serious practice with a teacher that was structured over a 3-year period so that I could get my certification and my deeper hour training with a particular methodology. So 4 years later, I've done that. So that's very exciting. You might look back and see that something shifted within a career or something shifted in a relationship. Tuesday morning, there's a slight window where the moon is void. So from 8 a.m. Eastern, 8:04 a.m. Eastern, until about 11:56 a.m. Eastern, I'll let you adjust for your time zone. It's about a 4-hour window. I'm going to encourage you to reflect and journal. Think back 4 years ago. What was shifting for you then in January of 2022? And think of the whole year as well, because I was coming to the decision around astrology. I didn't actually make the commitment until that summer of 2022 when I began that following, fall. So think about that. Reflect and journal. Void moon, of course, is not a time for starting anything brand new or trying to get things checked off the box. It's more about cleanup. It's about, all right, let me tidy things up, tie up loose ends, and great for reflection. Wednesday, and again, we're just looking at the overarching energy of the week. This brings an alignment between what you care about and what you're willing to act on, reminding you that you can really use the energy on Wednesday to help you become effective in working towards what you value. So it's not about being aggressive or pushing for it, but it's saying, how can I line up to get to my goal? Think of it like shifting your energy and frequency to attract and draw in, to magnetize the experiences your heart really wishes. It's kind of like dressing for the job you want, not the job you have. So think about that from an energetic standpoint. And this is so cute. This morning, I saw this cute little, I think it was on Instagram, Kevin Bacon. And he was like, if you're ever having a bad day, he invites you to join the Bill Withers challenge and sing Lovely Day. And so he started singing it and he's like, how do you hold that note, so long? It takes a lot of breath control to sing day and keep up with Bill Withers in that song. Something like that. Music is fantastic. And when you're singing, you're opening up your throat chakra, you're opening up your heart. You have to use the breath and the diaphragm, which activates the solar plexus. So what you're doing is you are creating a shift in the areas that get blocked when we're feeling lonely or sad or isolated. Try singing along. Love, love, love that challenge that he's putting out there for all of us. Then over the weekend, Friday into Saturday, you might feel a little bit of an emotional tug between responsibility and your emotional needs. So if you feel that tug between doing what's expected and honoring your feelings, you're not imagining it. This is an invitation to kind of be aware of what's being asked of you without abandoning yourself. So find that happy medium, that happy middle place. Okay, and we'll break down the week day by day. And Julie, lovely day indeed. Yeah, you saw that post too by Kevin Bacon. I know, it's great. He's so much fun to follow. Him and his wife, whose name all of a sudden, I'm blanking on. I can see her. It's not Kira. I don't know. I'm blanking on it. My apologies. Okay, Monday. Monday is a Leo moon. Leo is about self-expression. It is about playfulness. It's about joy. Leo moon's like, take a longer recess today. Make sure you have time to be playful and creative and do it just for you. Share something with other people that you're really proud of maybe, or that you've created, and just allow today to be a restorative day and not too draining. Remember that you don't owe the world access to your heart today. It might still feel a little tender and sensitive. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to pull a card. How can you make the most of Monday's energy? Oh, 10 to the heart for sure. Holy cannoli. It's the 3 of Swords card, which looks... Ooh, it looks hard and heavy. Some of the cards, the images are intense, but here's the thing. It's just an energy weather report. It's like saying, okay, it's going to be intense weather. So Monday, if your heart is sad, but look, her mouth is open. Can you see that? She's not holding in the grief or the sadness. She's singing. Oh, I've got chills. Isn't it amazing how the angels bring the right thing across her path? And here's the other thing. Okay, another intuitive hit. Oh, I'm so excited. So... and I go deeper into all these things in my Energy Alchemist program. So keep your ears and eyes open if you are interested in developing your intuitive gifts on a deeper level. Then I've got the thing for you. It's called the Energy Alchemist, that I bring everyone through. So with that being said, songs that pop into your head randomly, or picking up on conversations when you're out in public. These are important things to take note of. So this morning I had this song popping into my head and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that song from the 90s? It was Oasis, but it was Champagne Supernova. And so again, these songs popping into our head, and it had a line in there too about, strangers' lives, living strange, or living a strange life, something of that nature. But what occurs to me is that, a lot of these techniques and practices we do as an empath or intuitive or highly sensitive person, they help us. They help us navigate the world because we feel differently, we see differently, and not everyone is an empath. Everybody can access that empathy and compassion, but how do we navigate when we're overstimulated? Singing is great, 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 great. So, so helpful. And Julie, thank you. And Susan, thank you. Yes, Kevin Bacon's wife's name is Kira Sedgwick. That's right. I was getting hung up on the last name. Fabulous. All right, Tuesday, the Leo moon. Stay in your heart. Leo is about love. Stay in the heart center and reflect on what truly matters to you right now. What mattered 4 years ago may not matter now, and that's okay. We have clarity around it. Maybe we said, oh, I'm going to start this new project. It's going to be great. 4 years ago as well is also when I had, how do I want to say, redone the Energy Alchemist program. It had started out as intuitive energy adventures. And that was, wow, that was probably about 10 years ago. And I said, I think we need to make this expanded. And I brought in a deeper, bigger experience of it. And that has been growing over these last years. Think about it. What has changed? What might be shifting now in this 4-year cycle? Avoid forcing any kind of conversations today. When I say today, I mean Tuesday. Tuesday has that long void of moon. I did that in the highlights where it goes from about 8 a.m. until about noon Eastern Standard Time. All right, let's talk about how you can make the most of Tuesday's energy. Ooh, Four of Cups reversed. So whenever a card is reversed, it's not about the energy is still the same, but something's blocking it. So there might be the sense of isolation. Everyone else is having fun. The grass is greener on the other side. There might be a sense of boredom or a sense of, oh, I'm just so over this. I'm ready for the next thing. Take some time to recognize there's a pot of gold right beneath your nose. She's being offered something incredible, but maybe because it's part of the routine, it's something that she knows, she's not seeing the value in it. Take time with that Venus energy this week, the planet of love and of value. There is great connection to taking time and just writing down, what do you treasure? What do you love? You can do that I love game and see, do you really still love it? Does it light up your heart? You might have loved going out to the movies. I know for me, growing up, I've always loved going out to the movies. I even worked in a movie theater as a kid. I loved it because I got to see as many free movies as I wanted during the week. It was like nonstop movies. I loved going to the movies. I'm not really loving it the same way. When I found out Avatar was like 3.5 hours almost, I was like, oh, no. It was amazing. You never know. I'm not one to sit for long times. You never knew that it was 3 hours and 15 minutes. It went by very quickly. It was beautiful and incredible, but I wasn't looking forward to it as much as I would have way back when. So my values have changed a little. Reevaluate your values. Make sure you really love it because, again, as a highly sensitive person, as an empath, we can get caught up in the collective energy. And if everybody is loving something and talking about something, we're like, oh, yeah, me too, me too, me too. And it's so easy to get swept up. But if we ground, and we do the practices I mentioned so far, sitting in the quiet, taking deep belly breaths, singing, is going to help you really realize, okay, it looks greener over there, but I might only be seeing the person's highlights, or I might not realize they're an overnight success. I love it. If you stick around creators long enough or influencers or whatever you want to say, the full story does come out. And people might have this great success and say, oh, they built this business in like 2 years and it's exploding. They don't tell you about the 10 or 20 years before that when they tried all these other different businesses that didn't work. They just kept pivoting. And maybe this latest pivot has been the last 2 years. And yay, great success. Or the musicians that have become overnight success out of nowhere. You're like, oh, well, they've been on the circuit for 10 or 20 years. So take a deep breath. This card is just saying, okay, let's really see what's real. Let's not be, caught up in the illusion of the rainbow and the sparkly, but let's realize what's the pot of gold right beneath your fingertips, the gift in the everyday ordinary. Okay. Oh gosh, this is great coming together live like this and being able to have this community. And I wanted to ask your opinion on that too. And I'll ask it at the end, if this format's working for you, because it can go a little bit long, I know. But I feel like we get a lot of stuff in, and hopefully you can always listen to it in the background later on in the week if you can't be with us on Monday. So one of the things are these meet cutes. Have you seen these like shorts, these little videos? And the last couple's like, what's your success story or reasoning or wisdom behind having such a long, loving relationship? And they're like, it's the everyday ordinary. It doesn't have to be something crazy or outlandish or like, trips to Bali. Those are great. But sometimes it's just waking up and getting a cup of tea for the other person or going to bed at night and feeling them nearby. But it's the everyday ordinary that can really make a difference. And let's see. And Julie, you said, Dennis, oh, Julie, I'm so sorry. Much love to Dennis. And I'm so sorry to hear of the loss of his mom. Yeah. There's a lot of loss in the skies and in the stars above, or grieving. And sometimes Again, oh gosh. I'm like anyone else, right? I get caught in the scroll. There's a great Irish guy. I got to figure out his handle. And it's like he photographs strangers, and strangers is in the title of his handle. I watch him on YouTube. And he just takes pictures of people that he sees walking by. And he took one of this guy by the name of Thomas. It's his first post for 2026. And he has this long wizard beard, Thomas, the person who was photographed, and this hat on, big mustache. And he always says, hey, I really love your look. I'd love to just say hello and take your picture. And he starts talking with them. And Thomas was talking about a loss that, because he said, the photographer asked him, what are you joyful about right now? And Thomas said, it's really hard actually, because 2 years ago, this time of year, he lost his wife and he really misses her. He's 76. And, to see him, and he said how isolated and lonely it can be because he lives on a farm. And what he realized is that by not focusing on our own problems, but remembering and connecting with others, that's that star card, it makes our heart so much lighter. And he says, remember, the sun's always going to rise. So he said when he kind of gave his final goodbyes to his wife in the ritual process of ceremony and funeral and burying, he said, okay, I'm going to look to the east tomorrow, and I better see the sunrise, Carolyn. And sure enough, there was the sun the next day. So there's a lot that we carry in our heart, a lot. And sometimes it's just the loss of a job or the loss of a child leaving from home, and take time to connect with others. And when you see the humanity in that, how people are living life and how we're meant to walk on this journey together, it makes all the difference. And Susan, I'm so glad you love this. Okay, good news. All right. So let's talk about Wednesday's Virgo moon. Virgo moons are awesome. I love Virgo moon because all of a sudden I want to tidy and organize. I get that bee in my bonnet. Okay, I can dig in and pay attention to the details. Virgo moon's detail oriented. You might want to tidy up your space, your schedule. Maybe you want to, wrap up loose ends on things. Great for doing that. But focus on one small improvement or one project so you don't get overwhelmed. When you do the tidying and the cleaning, like, you sit down at your desk and you can't begin the project because you got to tidy everything up. That's a great Virgo energy saying, okay, everything has to be in its place so I can focus and get into the deeper work. And it calms your nervous system in the process. Okay, how to make the most of Wednesday's energy. Ooh, you got this. You're so close. Keep going. Keep going. Hang in there. It's like the old cat poster from the 80s. Do you remember that? The cat hanging upside down by their tail saying, hang in there. She is so strong. She's exhausted. She's weary and battle wounded, but she can still make it. Her chin's up. She's resilient. She has tenacity. This is just saying you might be trying to carry too much across the finish line. You're going to get there. And what could really help is you put down a project or two. All these sticks, these wands represent the projects. So maybe say, okay, this is something I want to accomplish in 2026, but it'll be Q4 or Q3, quarter two, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be right now. Thursday is a Virgo moon. So think of this as a time for refining. Virgo's great for kind of making the tiny little adjustments to refine things. I encourage you, let go of perfectionism. Don't let that hold you back from kind of checking off the box of the to-dos. I know that can happen. Just finish something that's simple and it'll give you a sense of accomplishment. As my puppy comes in. It's one of those things like making your bed every morning that sets the energetic tone of I've done something successful. I feel accomplished, so I can accomplish more that day. High Priestess comes out, very Virgo energy. Virgo is the priestess energy or the priest. And this is saying, I have the answers. She's saying she knows, but she's not going to tell you because you need to come to the answers on your own, to sit in the quiet. So here's where that quiet comes up. And I'm going to even say this could be doing a task in the quiet, maybe washing dishes in the quiet or vacuuming or going for a walk. You think of the Virgo energy, getting into the tidying or the cleaning up and just giving yourself that time to get into a rhythm. And that way the mind is focused on something. The mind has a task and it's not going to overanalyze the intuitive guidance coming in. Friday's a Libra moon. So this is about balance and boundaries, finding the sweet spot. So think about finding harmony or seeking harmony, not necessarily the energy for Libras. I'm a Libra sun. They say, oh, the people pleasing energy. What the Libra is trying to do is they're trying to find the win-win solution. So sometimes that can look to be seen as people pleasing, but they want to have everyone happy. They want peace. They want harmony. They're not looking for conflict. So they say, okay, what will make you happy and what will make you happy? All right, let's see if there's kind of like the Venn diagram, the intersection in the middle. I just encourage you, pause before you say yes to anything. Again, this isn't a week to rush, especially out of fear or urgency. You breathe, and you can always use that phrase, oh, I need to pray about it, or I need to meditate on it. I'll get back to you. Love it. Okay, Friday, how can you make the most of the energy? Ooh, King of Cups. King of Cups is a card of intuition, highly feeling. The water is here with him. He's got his cup and he's got his eyes closed. Look at that. He's in the quiet. He's closing his eyes to block out the distractions and see the light emanating from his heart. He's in his heart space. And with this, really there comes to be that feeling, because Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is doing that beautiful dance where she meets the sun. It's called a Venus star point. That's a technical term. And again, this is completing a 4-year cycle that started in January of 2022. Music can be a wonderful healer. So if you have singing bowls, or even if you hum, it can be incredibly healing. And the simple practice of singing Om, but think of it as AUM, and then there's silence, because Om is really symbolic of birth, that living, right? So there's birth, creation, so to speak, the living of the experience, the release, and then the return back to source. And when we sing AUM and the silence, it starts at the back of our palate. It's kind of like the alpha to the omega, ah, ooh, and you let it go out into the universe. And that vibrates your lips, also stimulates the vagus nerve and brings you into calm. And there's a whole practice around Om that I won't get into too much right now, but think of it as ah, ooh, Om. So different than just thinking of it as OM. And there's slight variations, but again, this is why I have bringing this rich and depthness from all these different sacred energy traditions, because I'm a longtime yogi and certified within yoga, teacher's teacher, had a brick and mortar yoga school. These are things I can bring to you because there are these subtle nuances that actually make a difference than just saying Om. Makes a difference. All right, Saturday, moon still in Libra, rebalancing. What feels out of alignment? What needs maybe some adjusting, not fixing, but like a little bit of tweaking. Find the sweet spot. If you've ever been in a car, and you slip on some ice and you course correct too much, then you end up going off in the wrong direction. So tiny little adjustments, just kind of, okay, I'm not going to overcorrect and slide off the road. Okay, how to make the most of it. Where you go, there you are. So remember, do the work. Saturday is that last quarter moon that's saying what baggage, what emotions, what thoughts, and it's really the mind, the thoughts, because this is sword, are you bringing with you to the new land? This is an invitation to release and heal those thoughts, because the old thinking isn't going to help you get to the new place that you wish to go. So what are the thoughts that you had around what you thought you needed to do or accomplish around relationships, the commitments you made, what you value? Is it still in alignment? Is it going to help you get to the goal that you're working on now? Or is it going to help you finish it? All right. And then Sunday. Sunday's a Scorpio moon. Scorpio moon is about emotional truth and depth. You might feel a little bit more compulsive, like you need to do something. There might be this urgency, or there might be a desire to have really intimate connections. And when I say intimate, people that you need to be able to trust, you can have deep healing conversations with. Use this time to meditate, to journal, or maybe even take a beautiful Epsom salt bath. Okay, how to make the most of this. All right. Whew. Most of Sunday's energy, 10 of Swords. Whatever's been so heavy and hard is coming to a close. The 10 represents not only is the old energy going out, but the new energy is coming in. It's already on its way in and you can feel it. So the hardest part is over. So like when that 9 of Swords came up and said, you're so close, by Sunday, there's going to be some understanding of, okay, the hardest part is over and I'm walking towards that light on the horizon. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. It's a big week in many ways. So I want to just invite you to kind of ponder this question as you go through the week. Where are you in your life being asked to choose mindfulness, intentionality, or care over just pushing through and getting it done or developing that tough skin? And what would it be like to honor that slowing down and just tuning in? And what would that look like? So thank you all so much for being here and for hanging out so long. It's such a joy to have this time together with you. And I did want to ask you and ask your opinion what you'd like most, because I hear different things. I love the live formats because I love the community that comes together and how we can be together like this and chat. You can ask questions and I can give you insights, and I tune into the energy that's present and everybody watching later, of course. But I can really hone in the practices that I give to meet the energy that shows up here. But I also know they end up running long and it can be hard to take this much time out. I also know that you might want to get the heads up before the week starts instead of jumping into it on a Monday. So let me know in the comments, would you like me to kind of tighten this up and make it more of like a 25-minute energy weekly broadcast report, and I could put it out on Sundays like as a recording, and then we could meet live later on in the week, maybe like once a month on a Wednesday or so, and I can just do tarot readings and I can pull for those who pop on. Let me know if that would be more helpful to you, preferable, because this is for you. I love doing this to give you insight on the week, and I want to help you out in the best way possible. And there is something nice about coming together in community because all of our energy connects and we're here in live time. All right. Have a great, great week. I hope you connect with your heart's joy this week and that you find the soothing quality that you need for your nervous system. And hey, by the way, if you want the grounding practice, I mention it a lot, but in case you haven't grabbed it yet, irenamiller.co/get calm. And you can go check that out. I'll put it up on the screen and you can access a 2-minute guided grounding practice that is fabulous to help you practice discernment, to calm the nervous system, and to really enable yourself to slow down, to go fast. Okay, great. Susan, you like the live. Awesome. Okay, fantastic. Yay. You're welcome, Julie. Much love to you and Dennis, and I'm so sorry for the loss. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and thank you for being here in community like this. I do love it so much, and this is for you. So let me know what you're looking for, what you'd like more of or less of, and I will accommodate you. All right, much, much love, and accommodate you in the best way that I can. And Chrissy, you love that idea. You get busy on Monday mornings, can't always watch it all live. Okay, so I'm going to figure out a way. I think I want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on Sunday if I can. And Moon Club members, maybe I will make that for you. So if you haven't checked out Moon Club, my Moon Club friends, or irenamiller.co/club, check out Moon Club. So for Moon Club members, I'm going to try to put that together for you so you have it at least by Sunday, if not earlier. And we'll figure this out. But I do like being live on Mondays. So maybe we'll shift the energy of Mondays a little bit. Okay, much love. And as true Libra fashion, I will find the win-win situation. All right, take it easy. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Oh, hey, and remember, trust your vibes and follow your heart, especially this week. Bye, guys.